The Rider-Waite tarot deck, probably the most recognizable tarot deck in the world, revered, traditional. The Thoth tarot, also one of the best-selling and popular tarot decks in the world. There's many things that are alike or similar in each of these decks, and a few things that are different. First of all, the artwork is dramatically different. Oh, I have to throw that in too. Hey, I just got word from the publisher of the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic that the new edition has arrived and will be going out soon. The new edition has a different box and a few other artwork on the dump. So if you're a collector, you're going to have to get it, even if you've got one of these, he says. Hey, I'm going to share an interview that I gave to Alison Cross, okay, who is the brilliant Scottish tarotist, not a terrorist, but a tarotist, and a UK tarot goddess, okay, and organizer of many tarot events, a few that I've been invited to and have spoken at. And there was one in Bristol along about 2007, I think. And I gave an interview to Alison, which she published and forgive me, Alison, for getting the name of your publication, but you were nice enough to interview me and transcribe it somehow. And I was just going over it this week, and I thought, well, I'd like to share it with you folks. So I'm not going to share the entire thing because there were other questions that might not be that interesting to all of you. But anyway, I just got a kick out of it. This had to have been around 2007 because I mentioned the fact that I'm working on the Enochian Vision Magic book. And I mentioned that we're in Bristol here. So that was about that time. Now, every time I read something that I wrote many, many years ago, you have to always keep in mind, and promise me you'll keep in mind, that my attitudes and opinions on things are constantly in a state of flux and re-examination. And if I would be presented with these same list of questions today, that obviously I would answer them a bit differently, but most of the time not that much differently. But it's well, anyway, I'm just going to read her questions and my answers. Here's her question. First of all, can you set the scene for us? Describe your surroundings of where you are right now as you answer these questions. Okay, so obviously this was, she emailed me these questions. Answer. I'm sitting in my office here at my home in Costa Mesa, sipping a cup of tea, English breakfast with lemon. It's 8 a.m. and the sun is rising over our garden wall, through my partially open window, illuminating my bookcases and a wall of Ganesha posters and Masonic emblems. My desk is cluttered, as always, with books and files and notes piled high in every direction. Constance is in the adjacent bedroom doing her morning yoga with a Ravi Shankar CD, filling the whole house with the soundtrack of our old hippie life. Incense is burning. Yes, incense is burning. It's a little chilly this morning, around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm wearing black sweatpants, a black OTO t-shirt, a baseball cap with the eye in the triangle on it. I've been up since about 5:30 a.m. answering my mail and trying to work on drawings for the new book on Enochian magic. Question: what role does tarot play in your own life? Do you use it for decision-making, meditation, etc.? Answer: tarot plays a central role in my life. It's my constant companion. I take it with me everywhere. Its construction is a constant source of meditation, and I view the streaming events of my ever-changing daily life as the shuffling, spreading, and reshuffling of the cards. But this process has long ago transcended the, "Oh my, that damn Prince of Cups is beating me up with the Three of Discs again" stage. The cards have ceased to be metaphoric cartoons of my intellect and reasoning processes, or as the Kabbalists say, my ruach. And have literally now become the communicating angels of my intuitional life, or as the Kabbalists would say, my neshama. In the language of tarot, I am moving from the world of swords to the world of cups. I hope that makes sense. That being said, I can honestly say that I've never consciously made an important decision based upon information I've received from a tarot reading or any other form of divination. This is not because I don't have confidence in the wisdom and efficacy of oracles, but because I'm a self-centered, self-involved, bull-headed old fool who seldomly takes wise advice from his friends or family, let alone from a pack of cards or the roll of a dice. Question: how do you view the working of the tarot? For example, as, quote, magic, synchronicity, dependent entirely upon the development of the reader? Answer: please don't think that I'm making light of your question or that I'm trying to be flippantly profound. But in truth, everything in life is magic. Everything in life is synchronicity. Everything in life depends entirely upon the development of the individual. Why should it be different with tarot? Tarot works because it's perfect. Truth reveals itself in perfection. It can come from the truth of a perfect rose, or the truth of a perfect sunset, or the truth of a perfect act of love. The tarot's truth ultimately is based on the perfection of numbers and the mystical mathematics of the Kabbalah. This perfection is the source of the magic, the synchronicity, and the spiritual evolution and development of the reader. Question: is there one particular tarot card with which you identify? If there is, why? Answer: the Fool. Isn't it obvious? Question. We know that you did an interview for the Tarot Connection, which is available on a podcast. How can we view it? And I apologize, I don't recall that interview off the top of my head. Thank you. I love doing interviews because it gives me a chance to find out what I think about things. And then I go on. I've got an old dial-up computer set up, so I haven't actually heard any of my podcast interviews. Remember, this is, 15 years ago. I've got an old dial-up computer set up, so I haven't actually heard any of my podcast interviews. For that matter, because we don't have cable, I've never seen any of my television interviews either. Question. As the song says, you say Kabbalah, and I say Kabbalah with a Q, QBLH. Why are all these different spellings of the same word? Don't the different spellings denote the same thing? Answer. Actually, in Hebrew, the word Kabbalah, I'll explain why I use that spelling with a Q in a moment. Kabbalah is simply spelled Kuf, Q-O-P-H, Kuf Beth Lamed, Q-B-L. Q obviously has a K sound, and when the text started to get translated into the various European languages, in this case German, it was determined that the closest phonetic rendering in German would have the word spelled K-A-B-B-A-L-A-H. And that is the classic European Jewish Kabbalists' way to spell it. Today it is Kabbalah with a K and two B's, and it refers most often to the branch of study that is extremely Jewish and intertwined in Jewish lifestyles and traditions and the study of the Torah and other classic texts. Kabbalah with a C, C-A-B-A-L-A, was taken up mostly during the Renaissance by Christian mystics who were fascinated with the holy science. Today it is probably the least used of the spelling, but it's still popular among Rosicrucianists and other Christian mystics. Kabbalah with a Q was adopted by European Hermeticists and ceremonial magicians to designate the aspect of the study that focuses on the mystical techniques that spring from Kabbalistic thought. To quickly recap, it's mostly a matter of Kabbalah with a K and two B's for Orthodox Jews, Kabbalah with a C for Christian mystics, Kabbalah with a Q for the rest of us. Question. What looms largest in your life at the moment, tarot or Kabbalah? Answer. Actually, both in the form of Enochian magic. I'm finishing up a new book on the subject that breaks new territory using the most original Dee and Kelly material, or the more original Dee and Kelly material. Question. In your opinion, is there really a connection between Kabbalah and tarot, or is it an artificial link? Answer. See my comments above. Yes, there's a connection between Kabbalah and tarot. 22 trumps equals 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, 22 paths on the tree of life. 3 elemental trumps, 3 mother letters of the Hebrew alphabet representing fire, water, and air. 7 planetary trumps, 7 double letters of the Hebrew alphabet representing 7 ancient planets or planetary spheres. 12 zodiacal trumps, 7 simple letters of the Hebrew alphabet representing 12 signs of the zodiac. 4 suits, 4 court cards per suit. 4 letters in Yod He Vav He. 10 pips, 10 sephiroth of the Tree of Life. This is perfect Kabbalistic construction of tarot, makes it and tarot work because it's perfect. Question: what are the simplest ways for someone to start linking tarot and Kabbalah? Answer: see my comments above. Please buy and read, or if you don't read, just buy The Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. I never said I wouldn't shamelessly promote. Question: how do other disciplines such as angels, astrology, etc. fit with tarot and Kabbalah? Answer: they fit in along clean Kabbalistic lines and order. I've written extensively on this and have created a tarot deck and book, Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, that has much of the spirit and angelic information on the cards themselves. Besides the astrological attributes of the trumps, the lesser arcana team with astrological angelic life. 12 of the court cards, the kings, queens, and knights. That's if you're Rider-Waite tarot, or it'd be knights, queens, and princes for Thoth tarot. But anyway, the 12 court cards, or 12 of the court cards, rule 20 degrees of one sign to 20 degrees of the next. Each of the 36 pips, the 2s through 10s of each suit, rule the 36 decans or periods of 10 degrees of the zodiac. The 36 pips also house in pairs the Kabbalistic 72 angels of the Shemhamphoresh and 72 spirits of the Goetia. Question: presumably, your study of symbolism began with the Kabbalah. What drew you particularly to tarot, and why to Crowley's work? Answer: nope. My study of symbolism began with tarot. Then tarot got me involved with Aleister Crowley. And then Aleister Crowley got me involved with Kabbalah. And then Kabbalah got me seriously interested in tarot again. Then tarot got me seriously involved with the work of Aleister Crowley. You get the picture. Question: the Thoth deck provides a strange reaction of fear in some people, possibly because of its association with that, quote, very naughty man, unquote, in their eyes, Aleister Crowley. Do you think that a deck does become imbued with the vibrations of its creator, and as a result can interact negatively or positively with the user, depending on the user's makeup? Answer: any work of art is imbued with the vibrations of its creator. And great art is often disturbing to some people, especially those who are unsophisticated or undereducated. For example, many conservative Christians view the classic Waite deck with mindless fear and loathing. They sense the evil in it by virtue of it merely being a tarot deck, and they've been told that tarot decks are evil. We know this stems from their ignorance and their superstition. Crowley's personal reputation was horrible. And at times he was a nasty fellow, but so was Beethoven, Wagner, Rabelais. Do sophisticated and educated people view their works with fear and loathing? Those who are truly familiar with Crowley's body of work, something that unfortunately takes a considerable amount of time and a good collateral esoteric education to achieve, realize that there are few people in the 20th century more qualified to comment upon tarot. Like a Beethoven symphony or a Wagnerian opera, they appreciate the Thoth tarot without allowing their distaste for the creator, deserved or not, to cloud their artistic judgment. That being said, no one should use or be forced to appreciate a deck with which he or she feels uncomfortable. Just as no one should be forced to sleep on a bed that is too hard or too soft for their sensitivities. But with all due respect to sensitive tarotists who fear the Thoth deck, or indeed any piece of art, because they believe it is imbued with evil of its creator, I must say that I believe that, like the conservative Christian, their attitude ultimately springs from ignorance and superstition. Question. In an interview you referred concerning Crowley to the horrifying and ridiculous rumors and accusation that dogged this remarkable man his whole life and continue after his death. And she quotes me there. Is there no smoke without fire? Good question, Allison. Answer, of course not. But if Crowley had been born even 25 years later, his lifestyle and audacious public persona would have attracted less attention than, say, that of Timothy Leary, Hugh Hefner. There's a scrap of truth in almost all the terrible rumors about him, scraps that he was many times happy to embellish and amplify for the sake of publicity and the fun of scaring the scarable. Is that a word? But at the end of the day, Crowley was never charged with, let alone convicted, of any crime more serious than bankruptcy. Last night I was rewatching the Addams Family movie, and the babysitter, or the new nanny, was being introduced to Gomez, and she shakes his hand, and he's very suave, as Gomez is, and she said, "My, aren't you the lady killer?" And he goes, "Acquitted." That sort of reminded me of Crowley's reputation, too. Okay. At the end of the day, Crowley was never charged with, let alone convicted of, any crime more serious than bankruptcy. Question. To what do you attribute Crowley's collapse in moral and spiritual terms, particularly in his later life? Okay, I have to put my foot down. Answer. I have not yet reached that level of spiritual illumination whereby I can judge with certainty any other person's moral or spiritual status. However, I am familiar with Crowley's later years and find very little that I could characterize as a collapse in moral and spiritual terms. In fact, the last few years of his life saw little or no scandalous behavior, but did produce some of his most profound and exalted spiritual creations, Magic Without Tears, the Book of Thoth, and the Thoth Tarot. Question: why is the OTO, and this is a really good question and always on everybody's minds, why is the OTO so defensive in the use of the Thoth Tarot being in public domain, like the Rider-Waite Coleman Smith deck? Answer: it was Crowley's wish that the OTO be the organization, indeed the business, that would produce, protect, and accurately perpetuate his work for the centuries to come. In my opinion, that is precisely what the OTO is doing. As holders of certain of Crowley's copyrights, the OTO would be poor stewards of his intellectual and artistic legacy if they were to relinquish their legal obligations to do just that. And as years go by, of course, things do go into public domain. The Thoth Tarot, in quality editions, is readily available worldwide. It remains one of the most popular tarot decks in the world. The companion book, the Book of Thoth, immaculately edited and annotated to qualify for university libraries all around the world, is also readily available worldwide. These and scores of other Crowley works would never be published in Crowley's lifetime, but are now available in quality editions because of the publishing work and exacting editorial attention of the OTO. Now I'll climb down off my soapbox. Question: I'm not familiar with the Thoth deck or the viewpoint of the OTO. Why is high ritual so important? My answer is, I'm not sure I know what you mean by high ritual. I can tell you that the Thoth Tarot plays no role in the rituals of the OTO. Question: how much did Lady Frida Harris contribute to the symbolism and content of the Thoth Tarot deck, not just the artwork? Answer: Crowley pretty much let her know what he needed to be in the cards and told her to pull out what he didn't like. I included some of their letters back and forth about this subject in my Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. Question: if you could name a few highlights in your journey with the Thoth Tarot, what would they be? Answer: the first is the fact that the Thoth Tarot introduced me to the works of Aleister Crowley and the world of Western mystery tradition and magic. Another is the thrill to be invited to come to Bristol to speak on the Thoth Tarot. Question, and this is Allison speaking. I use the book T, Astrological Correspondences, for the pip cards. I know nothing about Kabbalah, but I've been told that these correspondences are based on the Tree of Life. Is this true? If so, do you think that a basic knowledge of Kabbalah would be of practical help in my tarot readings? And my simple answer was yes. Yes. And Book T is something that comes down to us through the knowledge lectures and the material of the Golden Dawn. Question, and we're almost through here. Question: You say I can change only one thing with magic, myself. How much is this possible as a solo venture? And how much does it require the assistance of others? Answer. Oh, I need a lot of help. I need a lot of looking after. If it weren't for Constance, I'd probably be sitting here in my own filth, surrounded by old pizza boxes and empty beer cans. But at the end of the day, we have to take responsibility for our own realities. Like I tell people when discussing spirit evocation, you evoke a spirit because you say that, say you might desperately need a car. The spirit doesn't go out and buy you a car. The spirit evocation sets into motion an adventure. An adventure you must survive. Adventures are not always pleasant. In fact, they can be very dangerous and frightening. But if you survive your venture, your adventure, you will find yourself changed by the adventure. You'll become a different, improved, stronger, wiser person. A person who deserves and will eventually receive a car. Question. Does tarot need magic? Does magic need tarot? Answer. Tarot works just fine as a fortune-telling device, whether you think it's magic or not. Question. You can choose to have dinner with any two people, alive, dead, or fictional. Who would you choose? Answer. Mark Twain and Isadora Duncan. Question. Ever have moments when you doubted your own truth regarding Kabbalah? Answer. Sure. Question. Do you think the day will dawn when the general masses accept that Aleister Crowley was a genius? Answer. Maybe not the general masses of the world, but in Britain he's already starting to catch on. In 2002, the BBC conducted a poll of 30,000 Britons, asking them to vote for the person who was, in their opinion, the greatest Briton of all time. Named number 73 in the top 100, sandwiched between King Henry V and Robert Bruce, stands the, quote, famous poet, author, and philosopher, Aleister Crowley. Finally, tell me two things that would surprise people about Lon Milo DuQuette. Answer. 1. That he is a monogamous heterosexual who enjoys watching and crying at Jane Austen videos with his wife. 2. That he doesn't make enough money from writing occult books to raise his family above the official U.S. poverty level. And that's how that interview ended way back in 2007. So I hope you thought that was fun or interesting, and I hope you're ready for Saturday morning cartoons tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.